What would you do if you spent months planning the perfect family vacation, only to have your stepmother swap your kids with your sisters? After years of swallowing insults, one act of humiliation made me snap. She thought she could control me, teach me a lesson, but I wasn't playing her game anymore. I canceled the entire trip, every detail, every reservation, every penny. It wasn't just about the cruise, it was about finally standing up for my kids. Stay tuned to see how one woman reclaims control. My channel's struggling, so if you're intrigued, please comment 1 to help me out. Thank you for watching, I appreciate it. Subscribe to see how it ends, and I wish you all good health. I had planned a luxurious cruise for my kids, a surprise they'd never forget. But just days before departure, my stepmother did the unthinkable. She swapped my children with my sister's kids, claiming they deserved it more. My reaction left everyone stunned. I used to believe family meant support, that even if they took advantage of you, even if you swallowed every insult, it was worth it because you were part of something bigger. But sometimes family is just a group of people who know you won't say no. I wiped my hands on the kitchen towel, glancing at the clock. 6:47 p.m. Any moment now, my father and stepmother would arrive. Uninvited, as always. From the next room, I could hear my kids laughing and bickering, creating their own little world of chaos. They were loud, unfiltered, full of life. Exactly why my stepmother despised them. They're out of control. You've spoiled them. Her words still echoed in my mind, though our last argument had been days ago. Do you even discipline them, or do you just let them run wild? I had clenched my jaw, but said nothing. There was no point, she had already made up her mind. Mom, are we really going on the cruise? Emma asked, bouncing on her heels. Grandma said it's going to be amazing. I smiled, tucking a stray curl behind her ear. Of course, sweetheart. You and Ethan are going to have the best time with Grandpa and Grandma. Just a few more days, and you'll be on that big ship, eating ice cream every day. This cruise was supposed to be a special trip just for the kids and their grandparents, something carefree and exciting. It was meant to give them new experiences while I got a much-needed break. I had planned every detail, paid for everything, and ensured my parents had the best accommodations. They didn't have to lift a finger. All they had to do was enjoy the time with my kids. The front door creaked open without a knock. Hello, darling. My stepmother's voice rang through the house, syrupy sweet, laced with insincerity. My father followed her in, as silent as ever. He never interfered, never stopped her. I turned and forced a polite smile. Not today, I told myself. Don't let it start today. Good timing, I said. I was just about to finalize the cruise details. She smiled, slow and calculating, the kind of smile that made my stomach twist. Oh, about that, she began, draping her coat over a chair like she was settling in for a casual conversation. We had to make a little change. I froze. My fingers tightened around the counter. What change? She sat down, crossing her legs gracefully as if she were discussing something trivial, like dinner plans, not something I'd spent months planning. We decided that your sister's kids would benefit more from this trip, she said, as if it were a simple adjustment. Silence. I stared at her, the words taking a moment to settle in. Excuse me? She sighed, as though I were the unreasonable one. After our little disagreement the other day, I realized your kids really don't deserve this trip. They're too undisciplined, too much work. Honestly, I thought it would be a good lesson for you. You need to learn how to raise them properly. A rush of anger surged through me like a slap to the face. 3 nights ago, at dinner at my father's house, Ethan, Emma, sit down properly, my stepmother snapped, glaring at my son, who had simply reached for the breadbasket. They're just excited, I said lightly, trying to keep the peace. Excited? They're uncontrollable. Look at them, she sneered, her fingers tightening around her wine glass. You've raised them like wild animals. No respect, no discipline. Excuse me? My voice dropped, my patience thin. You heard me. She set her glass down with a sharp thud. You let them do whatever they want. They need structure, rules. Your sister's kids now, they're well-behaved, polite. They know how to listen. Maybe because they're terrified of their mother, I muttered under my breath. Her eyes flashed with fury. I don't expect you to understand, but I won't sit here and pretend your parenting isn't a disaster. I had forced myself to breathe, to keep my temper in check. My father, as usual, remained silent, staring at his plate. He never took sides, not mine, at least. And now, here we were. She had been waiting for the perfect moment to teach me a lesson. A cold, sharp rage spread through my chest. You replaced my children. My voice was unnervingly calm. She waved a hand dismissively. Oh, don't be dramatic. They'll get another chance, but your sister's kids have had a rough year. They're easier to handle. This is for the best. My father shifted uncomfortably, but remained silent. He always did. Something inside me snapped, but I didn't scream, didn't argue. Instead, I reached for my phone, my fingers steady. Oh, I said, voice light, that won't be a problem at all. With a few swift swipes, I canceled everything, every ticket, every suite, every excursion, gone. Her smile faltered. What? What are you doing? I slipped my phone back into my pocket and met her gaze. Problem solved. Silence stretched across the room like a drawn bowstring, tight and waiting to snap. My stepmother stared at me, blinking, as if trying to process what had just happened. My father shifted in his seat, his discomfort finally manifesting in a clearing of his throat. You canceled the trip? She asked, her voice sharp, disbelieving. I met her gaze evenly. That's right. But that's ridiculous. She gave a forced laugh, like I had just made a tasteless joke. The cruise is tomorrow. Do you know how much trouble it was to get everything arranged? What will we tell your sister's kids? I folded my arms. Tell them exactly what you told me, that plans changed. Her mouth opened, then closed. My father sighed heavily. Come on, honey, be reasonable. The trip is already paid for. No, Dad. My voice was ice. I paid for it, and if my kids aren't going, then no one is. The first flicker of emation crossed his face. You mean you cancel everything? The rooms, the tickets, every last detail? I confirmed. The color drained from my stepmother's face. You're being childish. Am I? I cocked my head. Because I seem to remember someone else changing plans without asking. You decided my kids didn't deserve to go. Now no one is going. My stepmother shot up from her chair, her expression darkening with barely restrained rage. You had no right. No, I cut in. You had no right to make that decision, to treat my children like they are less than your precious golden grandchildren. You thought you could teach me a lesson? Well, here's one for you. You don't get to make choices about my generosity. Her breathing was heavy, her nostrils flaring. She turned to my father, waiting for him to jump in, to take her side like he always did. But for the first time in years, he hesitated. His brows furrowed as he looked at me, something dawning on him, something he should have realized a long time ago. You cancel everything, he repeated, this time softer. I nodded. And you're really okay with losing all that money? I let out a short laugh. Oh, don't worry, I'm getting a refund. My stepmother's eyes widened. What? I reached for my phone again and turned the screen toward them, showing the email confirmation from the cruise line. Full refund. The travel insurance covered cancellations for any reason, and since I booked through my corporate account, I pulled some strings. Every cent is coming back to me. For a moment, the room was dead quiet. Then, my stepmother's face twisted with fury. You, me? I echoed, shoving my phone back in my pocket. I just undid all your work in 2 minutes. Hope it was worth it. You are so ungrateful, my stepmother hissed, snapping me back to the present. I exhaled slowly. Grateful for what? For being told my children weren't good enough? For being treated like a second-class citizen in my own family? She marched toward me, jabbing a manicured finger into my chest. I have done nothing but try to help you. I let out a cold laugh. Help me? I took a step closer, lowering my voice. Let's go over what help looks like to you. I counted on my fingers. You took money from me for family emergencies while my kids went without things they needed 1 finger. You've called me selfish every time I dare to do something for myself 2 fingers. You've never once stood up for my children when they were being compared to your better-behaved grandkids' 3 fingers. her lips pressed into a thin line. "And now, you went behind my back and removed my kids from a trip that I planned, paid for, and organized without even telling me 4 fingers." I dropped my hand and took a step back. "That's not help, that's control, and you don't have that over me anymore." My father stood abruptly. "Honey, let's just calm down." "No," I said sharply. "I'm done being calm. I am done playing nice." I grabbed my purse and turned toward the door. "Where are you going?" my father asked. "Home," I said, "because unlike some people, I actually want to spend time with my kids." I walked out, slamming the door behind me, and for the first time in my entire life, I didn't feel guilty for leaving them behind. The moment I stepped out of my father's house, my phone exploded with messages. I expected it. My stepmother wasn't the type to take humiliation quietly. I unlocked my phone as I walked to my car, scrolling through the notifications. Missed calls, 3. Dad. Missed calls, 5. Stepmother. New message. Stepmother. You are being ridiculous. Call me back now so we can fix this mess. New message. Stepmother. You will apologize for your behavior. I don't care how angry you are. You will not ruin this trip for your father. New message. Dad. Sweetheart, can we talk? I snorted. Now he wanted to talk. I reached my car, slid into the driver's seat, and locked the doors behind me. My hands still trembled, but it wasn't fear, it was the rush of adrenaline from standing my ground. I rested my hands on the steering wheel, taking a long, steadying breath. Just as I was about to put my phone down, another notification popped up. Incoming call. My sister. Here we go. I exhaled sharply and hit decline. 15 minutes later, I was barely inside my house when I heard the knock. Not the polite tap-tap of someone waiting their turn, but a furious, impatient pounding that made the walls shake. I closed my eyes, already regretting opening the door. But if I didn't, she'd probably just keep banging until the neighbors called the cops. With a resigned sigh, I swung it open, and there she stood, Jessica, my perfect, flawless, always right older sister. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a tight, sleek bun. Her makeup was impeccable even at this hour, and she was wearing one of her designer coats, the kind that practically screamed money. "Are you serious?" she snapped before I could even greet her. "Nice to see you too, Jessica," I replied dryly, folding my arms across my chest. She stormed past me, her heels clicking against the hardwood floor like an angry countdown. "Why the hell would you do that?" she demanded, turning to face me. "Do what?" I feigned confusion. Her eyes flashed. "Cancel the trip." I leaned against the doorframe, maintaining my calm. "Oh, you mean the trip I paid for? That one?" "Oh, don't start with that," she groaned, waving her hand dismissively. "Mom said you overreacted. You know how she is. She didn't mean anything by it." I laughed. Jessica's lips pressed into a thin, angry line. "What's so funny?" "You," I said, my voice dripping with sarcasm. "You standing there, acting like this is just a tiny misunderstanding, like I should just accept it and move on." "Because you should," she huffed. "It's just a vacation, for God's sake. You made it a bigger deal than it needed to be." "Right, just a vacation. Just my kids. Just another reminder that we'll never be good enough." Jessica rolled her eyes. "Here we go again, the victim speech." And there it was, the familiar condescension, the dismissal. The same thing she'd done our entire lives. "You always do this," she continued, throwing her hands up in exasperation. "You make yourself the victim in every situation, like the whole world is against you." The years of resentment I had been holding back suddenly surged to the surface. "I didn't make myself the victim, Jessica. Mom did that for me when she decided my kids weren't worthy of a trip I paid for. She never said they weren't worthy. She called them undisciplined, out of control, too much work." Jessica hesitated for just a second, then muttered, "She didn't mean it that way." "Of course she did," I said flatly. "And you know it." She exhaled sharply through her nose, clearly trying to maintain her composure. "Look, just fix it. Rebook the trip. Let the kids go. Don't let this turn into some big family war." "Too late," I replied simply. Jessica's jaw clenched, her face flushing with frustration. "You know what? Forget it," she snapped, turning toward the door. "I should have known you wouldn't be reasonable. You never are." I let her reach for the doorknob before I spoke again. "By the way, Em," she stopped, turning, her glare cutting through me. "What?" I smiled coldly. "Since you're here, you can let Mom know she'll be getting the bill for the non-refundable deposits." For the first time, real panic flickered across her face. "Wait, what? What deposits?" "Oh, you didn't think everything was refundable, did you?" I tilted my head, enjoying the moment. "The excursions, the VIP dinner, the upgraded suites, those were special requests I made just for them. And those? Non-refundable." Her mouth opened and closed, disbelief written all over her face. "How much?" she asked, suddenly cautious. I grinned. 12,000. Jessica turned as white as a sheet. "You're lying." "You really want to test that theory?" I pulled up the confirmation emails on my phone and showed her the balance. Her hand flew to her mouth. "Oh my God, Mom is going to lose it." "Oh, I know," I said, savoring every second. Jessica spun on her heel, fumbling for her phone. "Wait until she hears about this," she muttered, already typing furiously. "Oh, tell her one more thing," I added sweetly. She groaned, already at the door. "What now?" I smiled. "Next time she wants a free vacation, she can book it herself." And with that, I shut the door in her face. Later, as I tucked my kids into bed, I felt something I hadn't in years. Not regret, not guilt, relief. For the first time, I had set a boundary, a real, unshakable, expensive boundary, and something told me this was only the beginning. The next morning, I woke up to 23 missed calls, 15 from my stepmother, 5 from my father, 3 from my sister. I rubbed my temples, already bracing for the storm. Sure enough, as soon as I unlocked my phone, the messages began pouring in. "Stepmother, I hope you're happy. Your father is heartbroken. I don't know how you can live with yourself after what you did." "Stepmother, your sister's kids were excited. Imagine how they feel now. You don't just hurt me, you hurt innocent children. Do you even care?" "Stepmother, I hope you're ready to explain this to Dad when he calls. I told him everything." "Sister, Mom is livid. She's talking about taking legal action. Are you out of your mind?" "Sister, just fix it. It's not too late." "Dad, sweetheart, please call me. We need to talk." I rubbed my temple, already drained, and it wasn't even 7 a.m. yet. And then, just as I was about to set the phone down, another notification popped up. "Incoming call, Dad." I hesitated, sighed, and answered. "Hi, Dad." "Sweetheart." His voice was tired, like he had aged overnight. "Can we talk?" "We're talking." A pause. "Look, I know you're upset, but was canceling Architects the entire trip really necessary?" I closed my eyes briefly, pinching the bridge of my nose. "Dad, she removed my kids from a trip I paid for without telling me. What exactly did you think was going to happen?" He sighed. "I just think maybe you overreacted." "Overreacted?" I repeated slowly, my tone dangerously calm. "Dad, if someone had done that to Jessica's kids, would you be saying that?" Another pause. "That's not the point." "It's exactly the point." My voice sharpened. "You've spent years letting her walk all over me. You always say you don't want to get involved, but what that really means is you don't want to stand up to her." "It's not that simple," he muttered. "It is. You just don't want to deal with the fallout." Silence. For the first time, I heard him exhale shakily, like the weight of this conversation was finally settling on his shoulders. "Your stepmother, she just wanted to do what was best for the family." I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "No, Dad, she wanted to do what was best for her version of the family one where I'm just the person who pays for things but never gets a say." He didn't respond. "So let me make this easy for you," I said, my voice turning ice cold. "I'm done. I'm done paying for things. I'm done being the family's problem solver. If she wants a vacation, she can book one. If Jessica's kids need a trip, she can pay for it." "Sweetheart." "No," I cut him off, feeling a sharp sense of finality settle in my chest. This was my last act of generosity, and you let her throw it away. Another long silence, and then, quietly, for the first time in years, my father said something that actually sounded real. I don't know how to fix this. I closed my eyes. You don't, I said softly, because you're 20 years too late. And then I hung up. The next few hours were blissfully quiet. No calls, no messages. I had a late breakfast with my kids, took them to the park, and ignored the outside world. But by mid-afternoon, I knew it was only a matter of time before she showed up. Sure enough, at exactly 3:14 p.m., my doorbell rang. I didn't move. Then it rang again, longer this time, then knocking loud, impatient knocking. I sighed, finally getting up. Might as well get this over with. I opened the door, and there she was, my stepmother. Her perfectly blow-dried hair was a little less perfect, her designer blouse slightly wrinkled, but her eyes, oh, they were filled with pure fury. We need to talk. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. I really don't think we do. She pushed past me, inviting herself in, like she always did. I let her, because honestly, this was about to be fun. She spun to face me, her hands on her hips. What the hell is wrong with you? I smirked. Be more specific. You ruined this trip. Do you have any idea what you've done? Oh, I have a pretty good idea. Your sister is panicking, the kids are devastated, your father is heartbroken, and you're just sitting here acting like a spoiled brat. I tilted my head, pretending to think. That sounds a lot like your problem, not mine. Her face twisted in rage. You're unbelievable. I always knew you were selfish, but this is a new level. I sighed dramatically. And yet, somehow, I'll find a way to live with myself. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. You need to fix this. I smiled slowly, coldly. No. Her nostrils flared. You don't get to say no. Oh, but I do, I shrugged. And I just did. She sputtered, her face turning red. You can't just... I can do whatever I want, and you... I took a slow step forward, watching her actually step back for the first time ever. You just learned what happens when you push someone too far. Her breathing came in sharp, uneven gasps, her hands trembling at her sides. You think you won? She hissed, her voice low with fury. This isn't over. I couldn't help but laugh. Oh, it is. It was over the moment you decided my kids weren't good enough for you. Her jaw clenched, but she stayed silent. I smiled and opened the door. Bye, Mom. Her eyes sparked with fury. She hated when I called her that in that tone, dripping with sarcasm, stripping the word of any warmth. She stormed out, and this time I locked the door behind her. That night, as I tucked my kids into bed, my daughter looked up at me, her brow furrowed. Mommy? Yes, sweetheart. Did we do something bad? She whispered, her voice tinged with worry. Is that why we're not going on the trip? A sharp pang hit my chest. I gently brushed her hair back, offering a soft smile. No, baby, I said quietly. You didn't do anything wrong. She met my gaze for a moment, then nodded, rolling over to hug her stuffed bear tight. As I stood there, watching my children sleep, something shifted inside me. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about protecting them. And if that meant burning every last bridge to keep them safe from this family, so be it. The silence after my stepmother left felt different this time. It wasn't heavy with guilt or suffocating with regret. It was peaceful. For the first time in my life, I had said no, and I meant it. Sitting in my living room staring at my phone, I waited for the next round of attacks, knowing it wouldn't be long. Sure enough, not even an hour later, my phone buzzed. Incoming call, Dad. I exhaled slowly, considering letting it go to voicemail. Almost immediately, another notification popped up. Incoming call, Stepmother. Another followed. Incoming call, Jessica. I rolled my eyes. Desperation. They were desperate now, and desperate people. They made mistakes. I let them all go to voicemail, but Jessica, never one to give up easily, sent a message almost immediately. Pick up the phone. Mom is losing it. Dad's freaking out. You need to undo this now. Another came quickly after. She's talking about getting lawyers involved. I smirked. This just keeps getting better. I tapped my fingers against my knee, thinking, they wanted to play dirty? Fine, I'd show them how dirty I could get. I opened my email, scrolling until I found what I was looking for. A contract, a fully executed contract. I clicked it open, letting the words sink in with a smile. Oh, they were going to hate this. Flashback, 2 months ago. That's a lot of money, my coworker Ryan had said, peering over my shoulder at my screen. I know, I muttered. You sure you want to put it all toward the cruise? It's for the kids, I said automatically, but something nagged at me. And your stepmother? You trust her with this? Ryan raised an eyebrow. No, I don't trust her not even a little. Then protect yourself, he said with a shrug. Get something in writing, a contract, make it official. I stared at him, intrigued. A contract? Yeah, a simple one. Something that says they agree to certain conditions since you're paying for everything. If they break it, they owe you. A slow grin spread across my face. Ryan, I said, you're a genius. Present day. I forwarded the contract to Jessica. 30 seconds later, my phone rang again. Incoming call, Jessica. This time, I picked up. What the hell is this? She screeched before I could even say hello. I leaned back into the couch, smiling. That, dear sister, is a legally binding agreement. You can't be serious, she shot back. Oh, I am. You're actually making Mom pay you back? She agreed to my terms when she let me cover the entire trip, I said coolly. She accepted my money, she signed the contract, and now she's in breach of it. So, yes, she owes me. Silence. Then, in a low, furious whisper, Jessica muttered, Mom is going to lose her mind. She should have thought of that before screwing me over. I felt the weight of my words as I let them hang in the air. Jessica's voice softened, trying to regain control. Okay, let's just be reasonable. Maybe we can work something out. Maybe Mom can pay you back in installments, or maybe you can just… No. What do you mean, no? I mean no, Jessica. My voice hardened. Mom always gets away with this. She manipulates, twists things, does whatever she wants, and you and Dad let her. Well, I'm not playing anymore. She owes me money, and she's going to pay it. For the first time in my life, Jessica was silent. No snark, no comebacks. You're serious, she finally whispered. Dead serious. You'd actually sue her over this? If she pushes me, yes. Another long silence followed. This is going to destroy the family, Jessica said quietly. No, Jessica, I said, calm but cold, finally feeling free. This family was already broken. I'm just done pretending it wasn't. And then I hung up. That night, I opened a bottle of wine, curled up on the couch, and waited for the fallout for the meltdown. For the moment, my stepmother realized she wasn't in control anymore. Sure enough, at exactly 9:02 p.m., my phone exploded with calls. Dad, Jessica, stepmother. But this time, I didn't pick up. I was done. What do you do when family crosses a line and you finally realize that you're the one who's been carrying the weight all along? Do you stay silent or do you fight back? For years, the protagonist had swallowed insult after insult, believing that family was supposed to mean support no matter what. But when her stepmother decided to swap her kids with her sisters, claiming they deserved it more, that belief shattered. Instead of backing down, she took control. With one swift action canceling the entire trip, she showed her stepmother and her father that enough was enough. It wasn't just about the cruise. It was about the years of being overlooked, undermined, and taken advantage of. It was about setting a boundary, one that couldn't be ignored anymore. And when the family tried to guilt her into fixing things, she didn't back down. She stood her ground, knowing that she had finally learned the most important lesson. She didn't have to accept their manipulation anymore. So, what do you think? Was it right for her to stand up in such a dramatic way, or should she have tried to keep the peace? Have you ever had to make a tough decision to protect your boundaries, even if it meant upsetting those you love? Let's talk about it in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.